What would you want to have happen to your family if something was to happen to you? We all know that when someone dies, it can cause a financial burden on the family. They don't have the money for the funeral expenses or even money to keep up with the household. You're going from 2 incomes to a 1 income family, which can be very difficult. I chose to do this topic because I sell insurance, and life insurance is one of the policies that I sell, so I know how important it is. The purpose of my speech is to persuade everyone that life insurance is very important to have. The 3 things I'm going to talk about is the importance of life insurance, the different types of policies that they have, and the benefits of having life insurance. The first thing I want to discuss is the importance of life insurance. According to Life Health Pro, only 62% of people have life insurance. In the 1960s, 72% of people had life insurance. As the years go by, less and less people have insurance. Life insurance, that is. People don't realize how important it is to have life insurance, especially the younger generation that are in their 20s. It can cause a huge financial burden if you or one of your loved ones pass away and doesn't have life insurance in place. Life insurance can take care of the funeral expenses, which can be very expensive. It can also make sure your family isn't in debt and they can keep living the way they have been living. It can also provide future financial support, or in case of emergencies, or if you have kids, it can help you with college tuition, buying them a car, or even paying for a wedding. There's more than one type of life insurance depending on what you need. They have the cheaper ones and the higher ones depending on your financial situation at the time. According to New York Life, needs evolve and your insurance should change with them. They have cheaper and higher options, and deciding on which product is best for you is the hard part. According to CNN Money, term life insurance is bare bones insurance. It is the cheapest policy. You can buy more coverage but for less money, but it doesn't stay with you forever. It ranges from 1 to 20 years, and once that runs out, you would need more life insurance and you would have to buy a new policy depending on the age that you are at. And of course, if you, let's say it runs out 20 years and you're 60, it's going to be a lot more expensive because now it's going to be rating you at that age. The older you are, the more expensive it's going to be. Permanent life insurance, on the other hand, is higher at first. It costs you more money, but in the long run, it's actually cheaper because it stays with you forever and it has more benefits to it. It never runs out and it builds cash value. Depending on your situation, your financial situation, if you can't afford a permanent life insurance policy or if you can't afford what you want, you can do a couple things. You can just buy a term policy for $100,000, let's say, and it's probably going to be $30 a month. But of course, it's going to run out. So I would just buy that first, and then if your financial situation gets better, you can convert it into a permanent policy later. Or let's say you need a $500,000 policy to make sure that meets all your family's needs. You can buy a part of it in permanent for what you can afford, put the rest of it into a term policy, and then when you get to a better situation, you can always convert the term policy into a permanent policy. And that way you'll have what you need, and it all works out in the long run. Now I would like to talk to you about the benefits of having life insurance. When a loved one passes away, no one wants to deal with the financial burden that comes with it. Like Insurance Score says, without the protection of life insurance coverage, loved ones may need to drastically alter their lifestyle if the unexpected should occur. Life insurance can build cash value, make sure your family is able to keep living the lifestyle they were living if something were to happen, and you can pull policy loans that are tax-free from them. If you actually borrow against it while you're alive, for unexpected emergencies, or even to help with your kids' college tuition, or maybe even help pay for weddings if you have kids. Term policies, of course, don't build any type of cash value at all. It's just basic life insurance, that's it. But the permanent policy does, and actually it helps because even if you don't pass away and it has cash value in it, you can always borrow against it, and if you ever can't pay it back, if something was to happen, they would just pull it from the amount of death coverage that you have. Like Gateway Financial says, life insurance offers several advantages not available like any other financial instrument. In conclusion, I wanted to tell you about how important it is to have life insurance, the different types of policies they have, and the benefits of having life insurance. I've explained to you how important life insurance to have, the different types they have in case of finances, and how beneficial it can be to have one. Again, I feel qualified to talk to you about this topic because I sell life insurance, and I have realized how important it is to have it because before I didn't. I'm still kind of young, and when they said life insurance, I was like, what do I need that for? I'm still young. But once I went to all the classes and the training, I realized it is very important to have life insurance. I actually have a couple for myself now. Everyone should have life insurance to make sure your family doesn't have a financial burden if something was to happen to you. Of course, you want to make sure that your spouse or your kids are okay if you weren't there any longer, or to make your wishes come true for your kids if you weren't there. Let's say you want them to go to college, you don't have the money. At least now with your life insurance in place, they can go to college. Overall, life insurance is very beneficial. If you don't think you can afford it, there are ways to get started with one, and in the long run, it's worth it. It is a security for your family. So just keep that in mind when you say, oh, I don't have that money or whatever. You can always, like I said, start with a small policy and then add to it later or convert it. Thank you for listening.